Never forget your parents. George was born in a small, humble village. His parents, Martha and Peter, were hardworking but poor. Peter was a carpenter who spent long days in his workshop, while Martha sold vegetables at the market. Though life was tough, they ensured George had a decent education and a warm, supportive home. From an early age, George was ambitious. He often told his parents, "One day, I'll be rich and famous, and I'll take care of you both." His parents would smile, their hearts swelling with pride. They worked tirelessly to support his dreams, often sacrificing their own needs. Peter stayed up late repairing furniture to pay for George's books, while Martha skipped meals to save money for his school fees. When George turned 18, he received a scholarship to study engineering in the city. It was a bittersweet moment for the family. Martha held him tightly at the bus station, her voice trembling, "No matter where life takes you, George, don't forget your roots." George nodded, promising he'd come back often. But once he reached the bustling city, life swept him up. College was demanding, and after graduating, George landed a job at a prestigious firm. His talent and dedication quickly made him one of the youngest CEOs in the country. With success came wealth. George bought a luxurious apartment, traveled the world, and mingled with influential people. His visits to the village became rare. Phone calls to his parents were brief, often hurried. Peter and Martha, now elderly, missed their son terribly but didn't want to burden him. Peter would often sit in the workshop, staring at a dusty photo of George on graduation day, while Martha busied herself with knitting, hoping for a call. One day, George's company was awarded a prestigious industry award. The media flocked to him for interviews, and he spoke about his journey with pride. But when asked about his parents, George hesitated. He hadn't mentioned them in years, and the guilt gnawed at him. On the evening of the award ceremony, as George prepared for the event, he stumbled upon an old wooden box in his storage. Inside were childhood mementos, a hand-carved toy Peter had made, a scarf Martha had knitted, and a note he'd written as a child that said, "I'll make you proud, Mom and Dad." The memories flooded back, overwhelming him. He realized he had become so engrossed in his success that he had neglected the very people who had built the foundation for his achievements. Without a second thought, George canceled his plans for the ceremony. Instead, he drove back to the village that night. When he arrived, the house was dimly lit. Peter was dozing in his chair, and Martha was stirring soup in the kitchen. "Mom! Dad!" George called softly. Martha dropped her spoon in shock, and Peter rubbed his eyes, thinking he was dreaming. When they realized it was truly George, they embraced him tightly, tears streaming down their faces. "I'm sorry," George said, his voice breaking. "I've been so caught up in my world that I forgot where I came from. I forgot the sacrifices you made for me." Peter patted George's back. "Son, success is meaningless if you forget the people who helped you get there. But you've come back, and that's what matters." From that day forward, George made a vow to never let his parents feel forgotten again. He visited them often, brought them to live with him during the colder months, and ensured they were a part of his life. At the next award ceremony, George brought his parents as his guests of honor, proudly introducing them to the audience. "This award is not just mine," George said during his acceptance speech. "It belongs to my parents, who stood by me through every hardship. They taught me the true meaning of love and perseverance. Success means nothing without gratitude." The crowd erupted in applause, but George only looked at his parents, whose faces glowed with pride. From then on, George became not just a successful man but a son who never forgot where he came from. Success may bring you to great heights, but never forget the hands that lifted you. Respect and cherish your parents. They stood by you in your hardest times and deserve to share in your brightest moments. Like, share and subscribe for more stories.